Okay, we're ready to start the webinar.
Excellent.
Webinar is now live.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. In accordance with State of California Executive Order N-29-20, we are conducting this meeting by teleconference. Planning Commission and staff are participating from remote locations since the City Council chambers are closed. The public may watch the meeting live via Zoom and YouTube. Details for each of these options are available on the last page of the agenda. Public comments may be submitted via email to planning@newark.org. Please include the item number in the subject line and the phrase "for the record" if you want the email read aloud at the meeting. Emails must be received prior to the closure of the public comment for each item. For those participating via Zoom, when we get to the item that you want to speak on, please use the raise your hand feature and the administrative support specialist will turn on your microphone to speak at the appropriate time. Comments shall not exceed 5 minutes per speaker, including email comments that are read aloud, and must be consistent with current speaker rules and all applicable laws. Email comments that cannot be completed within 5 minutes will be read up until the 5-minute mark, and the remainder of the email will be submitted for the official record. The administrative support specialist will call roll for all of our votes tonight. Administrative support specialist Tran, will you please call roll for tonight's attendance?
Chairperson Aguilar,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Bridges. You're muted. Vice Chairperson Bridges, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Here.
Commissioners Becker,
Here.
Fitz,
You might have,
oh,
I do not see Commissioner Fitz.
he was here a second ago. Commissioner Hottestetter.
Here.
Okay, so we have, should we wait for Commissioner Fitz to jump back on, or are we able to, we have enough to call for a motion, or do we need his attendance before carrying on to the next item?
I think he
Oh,
is back.
Here he is.
Okay, I'm back.
And Commissioner Fitz.
Here.
Excellent. We have all 5 commissioners in attendance. We'll move on to item B. Item B1, approval of minutes of the regular Planning Commission meeting of February 9, 2021. I'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Becker, a second by Commissioner Fitz. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Or I'm sorry, we cannot do that. President Tran, will you please call roll for the votes?
Yes, Chairperson Aguilar,
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Bridges,
Aye.
Commissioners Becker,
Aye.
Fitz,
Aye.
Hottestetter.
Aye.
Let the record reflect motion carries. As you can see, I'm excited to get back in. Item C, written communications.
Written communications, there are none.
Thank you. Item D, oral communications. Anyone wishing to address the commission on any planning item not on the agenda?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to item E. We do not have a public hearing on the agenda. Do we have any public comments for the public hearings?
No, there are none.
Okay. We'll move on to item F, staff reports. Item F1, overview and update of community development projects previously approved, under review and/or construction from Community Development Director Turner and Deputy Community Development Director Interiana.
Good evening, commissioners, Chairperson Aguilar and Vice Chairperson Bridges. Stephen Turner, your Community Development Director, speaking on behalf, actually solo tonight, and also on behalf of Deputy Director Arturo Interiano, who had to be away this evening, unfortunately. So I'll be doing double duty by giving the commission an overview of projects, both the residential and commercial side of things. We want to do this from time to time to give the commission an update about projects that are currently under review or that have been previously approved or under construction or under consideration. This kind of gives you a little bit of context of what we're working on right now, and also give a sense of just the overall extent of development that's happening in the city. And with both of my presentations tonight, we'll take a little bit deeper dive than we did the last time we presented this overview, especially on the residential side. As you certainly are aware as commissioners, the city has been very aggressive in terms of residential development. Aggressive really in a good way, because we are providing additional housing opportunities for folks to call Newark home. And as you'll see, there are a lot of projects certainly that have been approved over the past 6-7 years or so, and also projects that we see that are on the horizon that likely could be approved into the future and providing more housing again for the next few years to come. So with that introduction, I will go ahead and share my screen and begin with the residential development update. And can everybody see my screen? Okay, great, good. So just a little bit of an agenda for this item. We'll start off by taking a look at projects at Bayside Newark. Again, we're going to be going back in time and giving an overview of all the projects that have been reviewed and approved out at Bayside Newark. I'll then touch upon development proposal at NEWPARK Mall. We'll then finish up with Sanctuary Village and Sanctuary West and other projects that are currently under review. So starting off with Bayside Newark, of course, the commission is aware that this area is under the Bayside Newark specific plan meant to guide development within the plan area, certainly focused on residential, but also focused on a transit center that could be constructed in the area into the future. And staff really certainly appreciates the commission participating with the City Council at the February 25th joint meeting to discuss this project, and in particular FMC WILLOW, one of the last remaining phases of development. We wanted to make sure that staff is proceeding in the right direction in terms of land use and residential development and station area planning. And we got some really good feedback from the commission and the council. So we really appreciate your efforts on that. So wanted to give just a development history overview. So again, this is a little bit of a GIS image of the area, and you can see that construction has certainly been underway for a number of years now. And I'll just highlight the different phases of development and the number of units. So we started off with Glass Bay, which contained 217 single family units, and that's been constructed, and folks are calling those units home. Then there was Bay Shores, 546 single family units. Again, that has all been constructed and people are living in those homes. There's Lighthouse, which contained 88 single family units and also 72 affordable senior units in a separate building, and that has been completed. Then there's Compass Bay, that is currently under construction with 138 units. Bridgeway, 580 single family units under construction. FMC Parcel C, 192 single family units. There was the 5-acre park that has not started construction yet, but it has been set aside as open space in the area. And then FMC WILLOW, which we just talked about, is the phase that's under construction. So in total, for projects that are completed, approved, or under construction in this area, it's approaching 1,800 units, which in most cities, that would last a decade worth of development. And these phases have been progressing very, very quickly over the last number of years. So that's very exciting. So again, not spending too much time on FMC Willow because I think the commission is fairly familiar with the site. I will say as an update from the February 25th meeting, staff is working closely with the developer as well as with Samtrans and their consultants to make sure that we are considering station area planning as part of our land use review for this particular development. We don't have anything particular to announce at this time, but we are working closely with those partners, again, to make sure that Newark is in the best position to receive a transit station when the Dumbarton Rail project is eventually approved. So we're very excited about moving forward with that type of study. Touching now on the sanctuary area and starting with Sanctuary Village. This is another development that I think is just wrapping up construction on the last remaining units. But as you'll see, that construction has progressed steadily and also providing new home opportunities for Newark residents. And it started off with Rosebriar with 96 units, followed by Primrose at 97, Skylark at 108 units, and Camellia at 97 units. Within this development, there was also the school site set aside for 6 acres and a park site that's been constructed at about 3 acres. So in total, 398 units were constructed here at Sanctuary Village. And again, I think they're just wrapping up their last remaining units at this site. Sanctuary West is a project that, of course, the city has been considering for many, many years. And in November of 2019, council approved entitlements for that project. 469 detached single-family homes in 4 villages. There's going to be 3 separate park parcels. Home size is going to range from about 2,300 to 3,600 square feet. And initial permits are under review, but as commissioners might know, the city is engaged in a lawsuit about the approvals and the environmental review that was conducted. The court system has ruled in the city's favor, saying that we have appropriately conducted our CEQA analysis. However, that decision is under appeal, and so we're having to go through the process for that. So there would be no permits issued until that lawsuit is resolved. So now moving to the other side of town, NEWPARK Mall revitalization, and specifically the NEWPARK Place specific plan. This is another area under a specific plan that, again, is intended to guide development into the future. And in terms of residential units, as described in the specific plan, a total of 1,519 residential units are planned for this area. These wouldn't be single family homes detached like Bayside TOD, but these would be apartments built within 5 different phases with a number of different units, total units within each phase. But in total, it's just a little bit over 1,500 units. In talking with the developer, if they receive approvals, they would like to proceed at a steady, regular pace for construction of each phase. It wouldn't happen perhaps at one time, but phase by phase or block by block, probably over between 5 and 7 years for the development of these units. The first phase is phase A residential. The commission heard about this project the last time that we provided an update. But it is the first phase. It's located at the northern end of NEWPARK Mall near the Sears building. It would be 75 feet with 5 and 6 stories. Again, all apartments, 319 units, a mix of bedroom types. And we're in formal review. And we're kind of getting to the home stretch for the review of this project, as well as a commercial project that you'll hear about a little bit later, as well as amendments and changes to the specific plan and environmental review. So we are wrapping up our review and hope to bring this project forward to the Planning Commission for review very, very soon. The other project that is in process that Associate Planner Patel, who's joining us tonight, is working on is the Timber Street Affordable Housing Project. Again, this project has been under review for a little while, but we are in the formal review process. This would be a senior affordable rental project with 79 one-bedroom units. It's being proposed by Eden Housing, which is a highly respected affordable housing developer in the region. The building would contain resident and services and amenities. And we're also looking into the possibility of creating a Newark preference as the first opportunity for Newark residents and seniors to secure a rental unit within this building. There's a number of steps that we need to take before we are formally allowed to do that. But we have heard, I think, from the Planning Commission and from the council, as well as members of the community, that providing a Newark preference is extremely important in the community. So we're going to be taking the steps to try to secure that for this project. The other project that we're reviewing is the called MOWRY Village, also proposed by Integral at the Pick and Pull site. So this is a project that has been talked about for a little while. We've done some preliminary reviews, but they have submitted a formal application for 207 detached single-family homes that would take the place of the Pick and Pull lot, as well as some undeveloped land to the east. These would be two-story homes between 2,200 and 3,300 square feet. The initial entitlement permits, as I mentioned, are under review. We have to do extensive environmental review for this project as well. But if things progress, this might be able to come before the Planning Commission before the end of 2021. Then I wanted to give an update on projects that the Planning Commission has seen in the past and has approved and that are in various stages of development, just as a reminder of again, past work that the Planning Commission and City Council has approved. So there's the Magnolia and Bain subdivision of 10 homes, detached single-family homes, 2 stories between 2,100 and 3,000 square feet. This was approved in 2018 and building permits are under review but have not been issued yet. Then there is the Classics on Newark Boulevard. This is currently a construction site right now, so these homes are under construction. As you can see as you drive by, 9 single-family detached homes, 1 and 2 stories between 2,100 and 2,400 square feet. And these were approved in 2019. And so we're hoping to have this project wrap up probably at the end of this year or begin early 2022. Then there's Pomegranate at Robinson, 21 homes on single-family lots, again, detached single-family residences, 1 and 2 story, 2,400 to 3,000 square feet. This was approved in 2019 and initial building permits are currently under review but have not been issued yet. And there's the Filbert Villas, 16 condominiums approved in 2017, 3 stories, about 1,900 square feet or so for each building. And again, initial building permits are under review. And then a couple of smaller projects that the city has approved, Mayhew's Place, in 2017, 6 townhomes, Locust Street, 6 apartments in 2018. And as you'll recall from earlier this year, the Famey subdivision, 4 single-family homes on Cherry and Clark, and that was approved in 2021. So I don't have a slide for like the total number of homes, but in kind of my quick addition of all of the homes that we've just reviewed that have either been constructed, have been reviewed and approved, are waiting for building permits, or that we're projecting out that could be developed. We're looking at nearly 5,000 new single-family homes and apartments being built really probably since 2014 up through 2030 or so, if you take into account the NEWPARK Mall residential development. So that is a lot of homes. It's really no doubt that Newark is one of the fastest growing communities in Alameda County. I think we're always a little bit behind Dublin, but certainly Newark has been doing its share with regards to residential construction over the past few years, developing sites that were underutilized and turning them into new homes for Newark residents. So I think that's something certainly to be very proud of in terms of residential development. And considering that from what I've heard, Newark had not approved many single family homes or residential units preceding 2014. I've heard that maybe it's like, less than 10 permits a year, perhaps for homes, projecting out 5,000 new units, certainly over the next few years or so is quite an achievement. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions before I move into an overview on commercial development. Yes, Commissioner Becker.
So Stephen, the project there on the pick and pull property, is that part of an overall plan that goes beyond just them developing the pick and pull site? I know the city owns 66 acres to the east of that property. Is there any discussion about something else happening, or is that something for a future discussion?
It's something for a future discussion. There has been talks about some complementary development that could happen further down on MOWRY in terms of perhaps open space, perhaps active open space, but nothing that the applicant has formally submitted to the city for consideration. It is out past the railroad tracks, past the Silliman Center. Pick and pull is kind of out by itself. It's not, I think it's an interesting use if you've not been out to pick and pull. As a kid, I actually really enjoyed going to pick and pulls to get auto parts and things like that. But I can understand how perhaps in the Bay Area, land areas like that with those types of uses are, in high demand as opportunities for housing. The area is within the Area 3 and 4 specific plan. So it is guided by that specific plan area, and projects would have to show compliance with that specific plan. But there's been no other kind of coordinated development or any other development within that area proposed at this time.
Thanks, Stephen.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
That's along residential development. Past pick and pull on MOWRY as you're going west, there was another parcel over there. It's a Peterbilt test track. It's way out there. Is that part of the same planning area? Is that still in that area? And is there anything earmarked for that?
Yes, that site is also in the Area 3 and 4 specific plan. It's owned by a different property owner, and up to this point, has not indicated, a specific project for that site. It's a unique site. The old Peterbilt site is very narrow, and it would be very difficult to build upon. I know that the adjacent developer in Integral, I think is interested in perhaps acquiring that site, but nothing formal has been discussed.
Interesting. Thank you.
Good.
Question?
Yes, Chairperson Aguilar.
How does, so the 5,000 units since 2014, I know ABAG had issued the new regional housing needs allocation numbers for each of the municipalities. I'm not sure if they ever finalized them, but based on the preliminary housing data, how do we stack up? Are we meeting our housing need per the RENA guidelines?
We are meeting our housing needs on above moderate affordable homes. So definitely we've exceeded that part of the goal. There are other parts of that goal for affordable housing that the city has not met. As I mentioned, I think the only affordable housing project that we have approved within the current RENA cycle was there at Bayside Newark TOD, I think the 77 senior affordable units, Newark Station seniors. And so those count towards our RENA numbers, but but we are certainly behind on that. We have received an initial allocation, at least a draft allocation for the next housing element cycle that begins in 2023 at about 1,800 units. So this is about 1,000 units more than what the current RENA requirement is, which is about 850 or so. I think it's 860 units or so. So it's a pretty big increase. However, and we are starting the process to prepare our housing element for the next cycle. But for this particular cycle, we are behind on the affordable housing side.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I will go ahead and share my screen and move over to the commercial development. Great. So I will go ahead and start off at NEWPARK Mall, and then we will talk a little bit about projects that have been recently reviewed and projects that are under construction and are tenanting. So just forewarning, the commission heard about many of these at the last development update. They are progressing somewhat, a little slowly, but they are progressing. We have not had any applicants withdraw their applications or cease construction, which is great, considering that we are in a pandemic and hopefully we'll be out of it soon. But it's, I think, a testament to certainly the economy, and I think to Newark itself, that that investors are still willing to take a strong bet within Newark as a good place to develop. So we'll start off with the NEWPARK Place specific plan. And I thought I would show you this kind of an overview, which might be helpful, of the mall area as it's proposed. So we talked about Phase A residential, which is over on the left-hand side of the screen, over where Sears, the Sears area. And then over on the right is Costco. So we announced that I think a few months or so ago, that Costco is in negotiations with the mall property owner, Brookfield, to acquire a parcel of land upon which they would build a new Costco, along with a gas station. So the Costco this is a rendering of what it would look like. It looks pretty typical as Costco's go. There's not too much to set it apart from Newark. However, it will be a larger Costco than our Fremont neighbors have at Pacific Commons. So this Costco would be 161,000 square feet, and the Fremont Costco is slightly smaller, but the Newark one will be larger. There's going to be a 34 pump fueling station. It's going to replace the JCPenney building, the Burlington Coat Factory, and a portion of the inline mall. And so all of those buildings would be demolished in order to make way for the Costco. There would be 405 parking spaces, and they'll be able to use existing parking as well in the parking garage. The existing parking garage, that is to remain, and that will provide parking not only for Costco, but also for mall customers as well. And then there's an existing parking field just to the to the west of where Costco would be, and that would remain as parking as well. So if all goes well in terms of approvals, which again we hope to bring forward to the Planning Commission and City Council soon, it's quite possible that construction could begin later this year if everything is approved. So projects that are also under review and recently approved include the Hyatt House Hotel. And this is a hotel that's on Ballantyne Drive and MOWRY School Road. This is where the restaurant Nijo Castle is currently located. So that business, unfortunately, will be going away, but would be replaced by a new hotel. And Associate Planner Patel is also working on this project, and we hope to bring that to you very soon. 112 rooms, about 90 parking spaces. There would be amenities for residents and guests, including a breakfast area, fitness area, spa, I think pool area, This hotel also will have some banquet rooms and kind of ballrooms for larger meetings. And we think that that would be a great addition to the neighborhood. Then there's the FIRCREST office building. It's under preliminary review. They have recently resubmitted plans to us to show compliance with our municipal code standards. They were out of compliance in an earlier review, and so we're hoping with this new review they get closer to compliance so that we can move forward with formal reviews of this project. Again, this at the corner of Jarvis and FIRCREST, about 41,000 square feet of Class A office space, probably under a single tenant, 4 stories, 56 feet tall, and again, it's under preliminary review at this point. We're also wrapping up work on our Old Town Newark study and specific plan. We have recently received what we believe to be the final version of the plan to take forward to the Planning Commission. We've also received the environmental review documents. So with that, we should be able to tee this up for Planning Commission review probably in the late spring or early summer. As you'll recall, a big part of this is streetscape improvements and trying to determine and figure out a way how we can get more people to walk and bike, but also make accommodation for drivers. So wider sidewalks, wider planting areas, slightly narrower streets to slow down the traffic a little bit, make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists to move about at the area. But it also includes opportunities for new housing, as well as for retail and restaurants and eating and drinking below the housing and in the area. It also tries to take advantage of some of the public open spaces like Magnolia Plaza and try to activate those on a regular basis so that this can be really kind of a destination for Newark, right? It's a place where I think most people see we could have celebrations and festivals, perhaps even close off this portion of Newark to create street fairs. We think that this could be a really good place for the community to gather as a local gathering space. Whereas perhaps NEWPARK Mall might be a regional draw. We certainly would love to have friends and visitors visit Old Town Newark, but it's really going to have that small town feel once the sidewalk and street improvements can be made. So we're really anxious to finish up this review, have council and Planning Commission and council review, and then quickly, hopefully move into construction phase as soon as we can find appropriate funding for the project. Project that was recently approved and Planning Commission reviewed this earlier this year, is the Thornton Assisted Living on Thornton Avenue. It's a 100-bed, again, assisted living, 4 stories, about 65 feet, and they'll be moving into the building permit phase, hopefully very soon. And then projects that are under construction or in tenanting. So there's the HYATT Place on John Muir Drive. This is the hotel that is visible from 880. And I think they have reached the top of the framing the last time that I saw. So construction is moving along pretty quickly there. And it's very similar to the other hotels in the area. I think about 112 rooms, similar types of amenities, exercise room, meeting rooms, breakfast areas, 116 parking spaces. And we hope that construction will be completed a little bit later on this year. Then projects that have just recently finished construction and are welcoming new tenants include the PANATTONI project at 7200 and 7400 Gateway. There's 3 buildings a part of this project: manufacturing, warehouse, and office. And 2 new tenants have announced that they are going to be locating here. So Facebook will be taking over a portion of the space for research and development activities. And a biomedical company called Allogene, which is located in South San Francisco for their headquarters. They're going to be using this spot as a manufacturing facility for cancer therapeutics. So we're very lucky to have them and want to support them and their important work. And they feel that they'll be very successful here at the Panattoni project on Gateway. So we're happy to welcome Allogene Therapeutics to Newark. The other project that is in tenanting phase is the Morton Commerce Center, which wrapped up construction last year. And tenanting activities include welcoming Facebook, not for R&D, but for catering. Facebook anticipates using the spot as a corporate catering facility to be able to take prepared foods to Facebook offices within the region. And a relatively recent tenant was announced, RK Group. They're a logistics firm based in Fremont. They're locally owned, family owned, and they specialize in assembly, packaging, and shipping and receiving, some warehouse works, and sophisticated manufacturing support for their clients. So they do a lot of specialized work in addition to logistics and shipping and receiving. And so we're very happy to welcome RK Group to Newark as well. And then on Clark, right across from the postal office, a self-storage building was wrapped up construction late last year. And I believe that they were open and taking reservations for personal storage. It's about 200,000 square feet for personal storage space there. And I think the building actually turned out pretty nice. I really like the finishes on that building. So wanted to also talk about major Newark employers. And we're really excited that there are two companies in Newark that have been on a hiring binge over the past year or so. So much so that they are taking the top spots in terms of Newark employers away from two of the long-standing entities on that list, being Logitech and the school district as top employers. So Lucid Motors, as most of you know, have their headquarters here in Newark. They're producing a high-end electric vehicle. There will be opening up their new factory in Arizona, but their design studio and administrative and executive teams are all located here in Newark. And by last summer, Lucid had over 1,000 employees working at home mostly, but we're anxious to welcome them back to the office when it is safe to do so. And hiring still continues. So we're really happy that Lucid finds that Newark to be conducive to their business success. So we're happy to have them in town. And then a new company on the biotech side is Cepheid. And Cepheid is also going to be similar to Allogene, using Newark facilities off of Gateway as a manufacturing center. So what they're called is a molecular diagnostics company, and they automate, from what I've learned about them, is they automate traditional nucleic acid tests. And these tests can be used to identify and analyze pathogens and genetic disorders. So they're also doing important work and will be manufacturing their test equipment here in Newark. And they are hiring very, very quickly. By this summer, they hope to have 1,000 employees in Newark as well. And they are looking for workers. They pay well, good benefits, and I will make sure that Anne, if she hasn't done so already, make sure that she sends out the hiring flyer, both to Planning Commission and to the public, so people can look at a hiring opportunity at Cepheid. So that concludes my presentation on commercial development, and again, would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
No?
I have a question, Mr. Turner.
Sure.
Fantastic update, first and foremost. As we're talking about businesses, my mind started just kind of wandering, just kind of to some vacant spaces that we had in town. Have we ever, or Do we get any traction on, I think, at the old Orchard Hardware site over off Jarvis next to, I guess I was just thinking of the Safeway shopping center. I know that's not the name of it, but
Yep.
over in that neck of the woods, do we ever get any nibbles there or any traction with tenants?
We definitely get nibbles. It seems at times that it's that we're not getting nibbles, that things are very quiet, and then other times we get a flood of inquiries, and we're kind of in the middle of the flood inquiries, right? But we have to take it with a grain of salt because the interest kind of comes and goes, but it's extremely difficult to get everybody aligned, meaning property owners and brokers and businesses to agree to make a deal work. And so, we get really close in some respects to a deal, and then something happens where it might fall apart, and that happens, quite a bit. And Anne can tell you that that's probably one of the more frustrating aspects of the job, is she works extremely hard to try to make those introductions between property owners and brokers and businesses, and she's been at this for quite a long time. Nothing new to report on those. I think folks may have saw that the former Mi Pueblo site has been spruced up with new paint and landscaping, which is a hopeful sign, but ultimately there was not a lease signed for that, but it certainly looks a lot better, and we're kind of hoping that the improved aesthetics might improve broker interest within that site, certainly. But we know that there's still a number of vacant sites that that are an issue for the city. I mean, they're often, if they're not maintained, they can cause blight and nuisances. We experienced that at the Orchard Supply Hardware. The property owner, thankfully, was able to correct those, and it's in decent shape right now. But it would be a lot better with tenants in it. But unfortunately, nothing new to report at this time.
Thank you.
Yes, Vice Chairperson Bridges.
While we're talking about places, has anything happened with the McDonald's? I thought they were going to tear it down and build a new one, but nothing's happened, although it's starting to look pretty ratty.
Yep. Well, I think that is another site where, as you're correct, approvals have been given for that. My understanding is that there are ongoing discussions between the business owner and the property owner to start construction, but I have not heard that construction is imminent, unfortunately. Good. Well, certainly we will keep the commission informed about residential and commercial projects going forward. There was we don't have dates announced for NEWPARK Mall yet, but we hope to have that soon. And when we do, the commission, of course, will be getting the staff report and plans and an updated specific plan for your review and consideration. Good. With that, I think that concludes the staff reports for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. That was a fantastic overview and very much welcomed. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so pulling up my notes here, moving on to item G, commission matters. Item G1, report on any city council actions.
There have not been any city council actions on the planning and development side to report out. I will take or have the planning commission note that the week of, let me check my calendar really quick. I think it's May 9th is Affordable Housing Week.
Okay.
And council will be making a proclamation for Affordable Housing Week. It's expected also at the May 13th meeting that staff will present the Affordable Housing Work Plan for council's consideration. So since our staff and consultants have wrapped up our interviews with the Planning Commission, the Community Development Advisory Committee, and the City Council, we've been working on our Affordable Housing Work Plan. We think it will be ready by Affordable Housing Week, very appropriate to guide our affordable housing development over the next few years or so. I would have really loved to bring the plan to the Planning Commission before May 13th, but the stars are just not quite aligning for that to happen. So I will be inviting both the Planning Commission and the CDAC to participate, at least attend and listen in on that commission meeting or that council meeting for the Affordable Housing Work Plan. And then I think we can bring our consultants back to the Planning Commission and CDAC for in-depth questioning and overview about what we want to accomplish this year. It's very, very exciting knowing that Newark has been wanting to move forward in a very positive way with affordable housing. We are setting ourselves up for the next 2 years to work on some very exciting affordable housing programs. And so we're excited to get started on that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, please do keep us informed just on when if it is in fact May 13th, that'll be presented to City Council. That'll be fun to tune into and listen in on.
Very good, thank you. Nothing else to report at this time.
Okay, I'll move on to item H and bring it around to the commission. I'm just kind of going in order here on my screen. Commissioner Otterstetter, any comments for tonight?
No, nothing. Just again, thank you, Steve, for the great report. Really appreciate the updates.
Commissioner Vice Chairperson Bridges?
Well, I'm pretty impressed with all the projects that we're going to be having to build houses here. There is one small thing, and I had brought it up about a month ago. In the past, we've always used to get like an internal roster, and it showed the city council, the planning commission, and some of the executive team with addresses and phone numbers, work and personal. And we haven't received anything like that probably in 5, 6, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But anyway, I've got one here. I don't see where the date is, but it's pretty old. But anyway, I would like for us to have something, for each of us to have something like that. I had the desire a while back to call a couple of people, and I didn't want to have to look in the phone book. So could that be done?
Yes, certainly. I will check in with the city clerk to find out if that's been prepared for this year, and if so, get that distributed. But if not, find out what the timeline is for the preparation of that document.
Commissioner Fitz?
Yes, I just kind of echo my other commissioners' feelings. I think it's just great to have an update like this. It's just amazing how different this year has been, this past year of not having in-person meetings, engaging the public in a vibrant way. And it's just nice to know that things are actually happening in town that we may not see and may not be aware of. And I find it's just very refreshing to get these updates from time to time. I like to drive around and see the progress of some of the buildings that are going on, the new hotel on John Muir. I go by that. It's kind of a little tour that I take to see what's going on. And I like to see things moving forward, and things we've reviewed and done years ago are finally coming to fruition. And I can't tell you how long it takes to get some of the things going sometimes. So I really feel great that you're including us in on this information, and I like this transparency, and it's really exciting to see what's happening here in the future. So I think we're looking good here.
Okay. Thanks.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Becker?
I just want to reiterate the comments from my other fellow planning commissioners. Thanks, Stephen. It was a very informative report. It is nice to see that despite the pandemic, things didn't appear to be slowing down, which is wonderful. So thank you very much. And then just a quick question. Has there been any discussion regarding a possible, properly socially distanced ribbon cutting or grand opening for the Civic Center?
There will be. I haven't heard specific details about that. I think, so no, I haven't heard specifics on that, but I know we would love to do that, but just haven't heard details on that yet.
Great, thank you.
As we know, we'll send it out, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Vice Chairperson Bridges?
Yeah, I had
I think you went on mute again accidentally.
I actually do what Bill does. Drive around, and I've gone over there by the senior housing and the new developments and so forth. I'm pretty amazed at how tight all of that housing is. I mean, you can hardly turn around on the sidewalk. But I was curious, I know we restricted the senior housing, or we tried to restrict it a little bit so that we had Newark residents that were living in that facility. I'm kind of curious, has anybody's even looked at that to see how many Newark residents we got moving into those facilities versus, I know that in the past, we've had 99% people coming from out of town that are in the older senior facility that we have behind, that's off of Cedar.
That's right.
Has anything been done on that?
No, we don't know the city of origin for residents at Newark Station seniors. I'm not sure if we can ask that. However, I know that informally, I think the city tried to advertise the opportunity to Newark residents as that residential building was coming online, but it was nothing that, again, it wasn't a formal request for Newark residents. How we're approaching timber is going to be different. We would like to formally be able to offer these units first to Newark residents. And then once that opportunity has ended, then open it up to others to fill those. There are a number of steps that we have to take, both on the study side to show that there is demand within Newark whereby people could actually, who live in Newark, actually rent those units. Then there's some legal aspects that we need to consider as well in terms of fair housing. So we need to study that as well. We don't want to be exclusionary, certainly, with our housing policies. And some people could see that just offering units to Newark residents, could be excluding others. So we want to make sure that we're following all the rules that are set up by the county and the state to properly allow us to make the offer to Newark residents first before we open it up to the wider community. And there's a number of steps and studies that we have to do before we do that. But we would like to pursue that as aggressively as we can for the timber senior apartments.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. That was a fantastic presentation, very informative.
Great.
Commissioner Becker made the comment of how fantastic it is to see that kind of despite this pandemic, it's been full steam ahead from just a project standpoint, and even more of a testament, Stephen, to just you and the team and staff and all the work you guys are doing behind the scenes over the past, well, always, but especially over the past year while working from home or being at the office. So thank you, everyone, Mayank and Lena and Art as well. And that's all I have for tonight. Looking forward to the day we can get in and cut a ribbon and see each other in person.